Hey, what's up, everybody? JR here from Holy Faith Media here on the Fiat Ministry Network. I wanted to come on today and talk about a post that was made by 1 Peter 5. I believe Steve Skojak put the post up, but he was sharing an article from somebody else, somebody that had sent in an article which apparently offended some people because they claimed that it was clickbait. A lot of negative reaction down in the comments below, and I just wanted to discuss it because what it was is an article stating that it basically talked about how the Pope was going to celebrate a new rite of Mass, and it quoted a number of people such as John Guitton, Cardinal Ottaviani, and Bacci, that famous document in which they said that the rite of Mass, as it had been known, has been destroyed. So in that article, it took a step back and it examined things from the perspective of just before the release of the new Mass. Now, there was clues in the document, or in the article, that they were in fact talking about a perspective of 50 years ago. However, if you aren't familiar with some of the quotes, which, I mean, I was when I was reading it, so I knew basically what they were trying to do, but if you're not familiar with some of the quotes, you would have been mistaken into thinking that the Pope was literally for the first time going to be celebrating a new rite of Mass at the end of the Youth Synod. Now, what I thought was great about the article is that it really kind of hits home just how shocking the new rite of Mass would have been to the people that would have been seeing it for the first time. They took their, traditional Latin Mass, I guess it wasn't traditional then, it was just the way things always were. And they replaced it with this new rite of Mass, which was divorced from Catholic tradition in many respects. And, the Mass that hadn't been changed since the Missal of Pius V was suddenly replaced with something that was, in a sense, completely foreign to the Catholic tradition. Yes, there were some words that were the same. There were some parts of the Mass that looked similar to the traditional Latin Mass, but the implementation of it, the implementation across the world would leave you thinking that you had a completely new religion. And even Paul VI admitted such before he even released it, that, it was going to be offensive to seemingly pious ears, or something to that effect. Now, a lot of people gave Steve heat, or gave 1 Peter 5 heat, because they said, well, you're engaging in clickbait, and you're, getting us to read the article based on, and being misleading about it. Well, people engage in clickbait every day. I'll admit, I've tried to put the most appealing title with the most appealing thumbnail on my videos. I always do it because, obviously we want people to watch. Now, I don't have any, direct revenue stream coming off of posting a video, but I want to try to grow Holy Faith Media as much as I possibly can, and therefore I want to try to get as many people watching as I can. And, you see clickbait. Anybody that has studied marketing, I studied marketing in school, and anybody that, has a small business, or, especially is trying to produce in Catholic media, knows that you have to put appealing titles to get people to watch, because there's a flood, a mass of independent media out there, and as well as the mainstream media as well. But there's a mass of it out there. So if you want to be seen from the literally hundreds of thousands of channels, maybe even millions at this point, on YouTube and BitChute and all these other sites, you have to find a way to get people to watch. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be deceptive. That doesn't mean that you have to publish false information or anything like that. I'm definitely not advocating that. But within reason, you post the most appealing title that you possibly can. But the good of this article is that, I don't think it was bad at all, because when you read through the article that this gentleman had sent over to 1 Peter 5, it really gets you to step back and realize that, okay, we've become like, we're like frogs in the water. We've become used to this new rite of Mass, but now take yourself back to the late 1960s and just think of how shocking it would have been to see this new mass, the way that it was implemented almost overnight, and the way that it completely changed the life of Catholics, the way that it, upheaved the rites and the traditional practices of many Catholics. And the damage that it has caused is just shocking. But we're so used to it now that it's like, totally forgotten just how bad it was. So I commend 1 Peter 5 for running that article. I appreciate the fact that, they care about what the readers think, and therefore they issued, the senior publisher, and I think Steve Skojec himself issued a little statement on it, and they subsequently apologized if people may have been misled in the article, and they said this wasn't our intention. But from a marketing standpoint, it was genius, and it achieved what it needed to, because people ended up reading the article, and maybe it got them to reflect a little bit. Maybe there were some people out there that are new to tradition, or maybe are just coming across 1 Peter 5 for the first time because of such a headline, and it got them to stop and think. So I think that it was a great thing what they did, and that's all for now.